And if you just turn the keys over to that account, if you just say, hey, mom and dad have been saving for you your whole life. Here you go. You have an account that has $1 million in it. You just destroyed that child. Too many people use money in evil ways. They use it as a self-serving way. They get money, they feel rich, they buy things that make them temporarily feel happy, and then eventually all their money is gone. When they really never had to work for anything, I can tell you what happens. Because in my own family, I can identify exactly what went wrong and why they are spoiled brats. How's everybody doing? I'm Chris Noggle, and welcome to the show. Today's show is going to be about your kids. It's going to be about making your kids millionaires, but how to do it the right way. I'm joined here with my studio guest, Cash, and Cash is our lazy kitty cat, as you can see right there. That's Cash. But he's going to join us for this podcast where we're going to talk about children, we're going to talk about your kids, and we're going to talk about how to make your kids wealthy, but how to do it in a way where you don't ruin them. Because, money's a tricky thing. If you just hand money to people, they don't respect it. If you show people how to make and earn money and then how to make money work for them, they find a respect for it. Think of all the different things in life that you've been handed that you didn't respect. And then think of the things in life that you've had to pay for, work hard for, and think of how you respected each and every single one of them differently. But before we get into that, I want to talk about all of you. I want to talk about your journey to becoming a rebel bank. Your journey to becoming a rebel bank starts with knowledge. You're here getting knowledge. You're here to learn. You're here to learn some different ways to do things, but it's not the learning. It's not the knowledge that's the important part. It's the application of the knowledge that really matters. And the application of the knowledge is what's going to get you places in life. So I'm going to challenge you to take action, to apply knowledge in a very simple way. And that is, I'm going to give you something for free. But to get that, you have to do something. Fair enough? So in order to get this booklet right here, Drifting Away from Traditional Car Buying, this booklet shows you how to get all the money back for every single car you will ever buy, drive, and own. And in order to get this booklet, all you need to do is take action. You need to go to chrisnoggle.com. There's how it's spelled. N-A-U-G-L-E. Just go to chrisnoggle.com. And all I'm going to have you do is 2 index finger swipes on your phone. So just grab that phone. Some of you use a thumb, just 2 swipes up on that website, and you will see the booklet. And to get the booklet, all you have to do is register for a free wealth webinar, which is every Wednesday at 1 p.m. If you don't join us for the wealth webinar, well, that's your loss, but you'll still get the booklet. But you will not respect the booklet because you skipped a step and you violated a law. So let's dive in. Kids, I want all of you to think about when you were a kid. What was your upbringing like? Was it easy? Was everything handed to you? Did you go to Ivy League schools? Did everybody pay for everything for you? Or was it more like mine, where everything was a struggle? If you left a door open or you left the light on, we're not heating the outside. Shut the lights off. You're not paying the electric bill. How was your upbringing? Because the 2 different things I just explained make 2 different people, but 2 different sets of values. And I think that's the important thing. So it's very easy to make your children, because I have a daughter and she's now 20 months old. It would be very easy for me to make her a millionaire. Matter of fact, I already did it. She just doesn't know it yet. But to teach her the lessons, to teach her the value, and to teach her how to work hard, because that's the only way she's going to make it in life. She's not going to make it if everything's handed to her. She's going to make it by learning the values of life and learning the tool that can help other people solve problems. And that tool is very simple. It's not the shovel in your driveway. It's the money in your bank. It's the money that you've been saving. It's the money that you earn. That's the tool we're going to talk about, because that tool is a double-edged sword. It can work both ways. It can hurt you more than it can help you. And it can help you become someone that you always wanted to be, not because of the ability of the money buying things for you or getting you things that you want, but for the ability of that money, that tool, to go out there and do things that solve problems for others, which then shows you the real meaning of life, because money isn't happiness. Now you hear this all the time. Money. Oh, I've never met somebody that doesn't have money that's not happy, or money certainly makes you happy. Oh, flying in my jet makes me happy. Okay, let's pause. I'm not disregarding those things, but they're temporary happiness. They're not real happiness. Real happiness is when you actually solve somebody else's problem. When they send you a letter saying, thank you, you changed my life. When they call you up and say, that day meant everything to me. Or I've had certain situations where little things that I did when I was younger. I'll give you an example. When I was a pro snowboarder, I was competing in a Red Bull contest, and I was sitting on the stage when they were giving all the awards out, and we all had our boards. And one thing I thought about is I'm like, this board was given to me for free, and I'd like to give it away for free. So what I did is I found this little kid in the audience. He was the smallest little guy fighting his way to the front. His parents were behind him, kind of just shielding him. And I'm like, that's the guy that needs my board. Now, my board was way too big for him, but I figured someday he'd grow into it. So what I did is I pulled him out. I had him come up to the stage, and I gave him my board. I didn't think anything of it. After I gave him that snowboard, I thought nothing of it. It just felt good. It felt good to see him smile. It felt good to see him try to carry this big board. Many years later, I'm on the hill, and this teenager comes up to me. He wasn't a kid anymore. Comes up to me and says, "Are you Chris Noggle?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You don't remember me, but there was a contest that you rode in, and you gave me your snowboard, and I've treasured that board, and I've snowboarded every single year since that point." And he was actually a really good rider, went on to be a sponsored rider. I mean, just little things like that, the joy you have in something like that. When I became a coach for snowboarding, after my career had ended, helping those athletes overcome mental objections in terms of why I can't do this, why I can't win, why I can't seem to put this line together. And you overcome the mental things that happen to every athlete. They go through mental roadblocks. And that was my job as a coach. My job was, to keep them strong, to show them technique, to give them words of encouragement. But sometimes my job was more to destroy the mental thoughts that were going through their heads, the negative mental thoughts that were going through their head. And that was the thing that made the difference between losing and sitting up there in first place. And I watched a lot of athletes sit on that podium. And the joy I felt watching them go up, grab their medal or their trophy, and stand in that first position was a bigger joy than when I myself walked onto that podium, grabbed that medal or trophy, and stood on that first place podium. You see, sometimes it's what we do for others that makes us who we are, not what people do for us. The reflection of what people do for us is a direct correlation to what we've done for them. How many times do you have to hear it in life? If you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. That's a Zig Ziglar. And there's lots of other quotes like that, going all the way back to the Bible and many other places that talk all about the power of giving, the power of doing. So what does all this have to do with making my kids millionaires? Shouldn't I just put money into a Roth IRA? Shouldn't I just put money into one of those privatized banking policies? Yes and yes. And we're going to get to that. But you see, if that's all you did, you indeed would make your child a millionaire. You indeed would make your child more successful than you were, because you have time on your side. Well, actually, your child has time on your side, but you're allowing money to work in the confines of time. And it is one of the most powerful things when it comes to compounding and growth, because it's the one certain. Time heals, time grows. A tree planted today grows over the next 20 years. All those things. Money's no different. So your child, whether they're 20 months old like my daughter, or 5 years old, or even 10, has lots of time. So any dollar amount you put away into an account that allows that money to grow, even at a modest rate of return, that money will grow tremendously, and they will become millionaires. So there you have it. That's how you make your child a millionaire. And if you just turn the keys over to that account, if you just say, hey, mom and dad have been saving for you your whole life. Here you go. You have an account that has $1 million in it. You just destroyed that child. Well, I shouldn't just say you just destroyed that child, but you just took away the one thing that probably most of you listening didn't have or did one way or the other. You took away their ability to value that money. You see, the tool, which is the money, has to be valued. And the value that comes from the tool should really come from what the tool does. I know this is all sounding like mumbo jumbo, but think about it. If you have a shovel in your garage, when do you pull that shovel out? You pull that shovel out when you want to build something, make something, when you want to dig a hole to put a flagpole in, when you want to dig a hole to plant seeds, when you want to dig a hole or plant a garden, when you want to build that landscaping, you pull the shovel out. The tool allows you to manifest what was in your mind the whole time. The flagpole, the tree, the garden, the landscaping, whatever it might be. Without the tool, it would have been a hard task. Same thing with money. Money allows you to manifest anything, good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter. Too many people use money in evil ways. They use it as a self-serving way. They get money, they feel rich, they buy things that make them temporarily feel happy, and then eventually all their money is gone. It's a vicious cycle. I've seen it happen too many times to count. That's why they say that the rich person today will be the poor person tomorrow. Mark my words. If you feel rich today, chances are you will be poor in the future. But you see, there's a difference between rich and wealthy. See, rich people have money. They can look at their bank account and they see a big chunk of money and they feel rich. And when they have that sense of rich feeling, they go out and they buy things. They buy the bigger car, the bigger house. They spend money on the fancier clothes. Why is it that all the really wealthy people seem to just dress in modest clothes? I know billionaires and they drive modest cars, very modest cars. You know, the most fancy car that I've seen most billionaires, with the exception of a couple that are car collectors, but the most fancy car I've seen is a Raptor. It's a F-150 spruced up. You see, that could own any car. They could own a Bugatti. They could own anything. They drive a Raptor, a modest car. They dress in modest clothes. But then you have rich people. Not going to name any names, but there's someone locally here who has newfound money, riches. They wear all the most expensive clothing, the Gucci, the Fendi, all that stuff every day. They're wearing the fanciest clothes. Every day they're flaunting the new car that they're looking to buy with the really expensive upgrades. Every day they're posting pictures of these cars. Every day they're showing how money buys things for them to make them feel happy. But clearly these things don't make them happy because they have to keep buying new things to keep that euphoria, that happiness going. Is that how you want your kids to react? Do you want to just hand them newfound money so they can go out and buy the fanciest clothes, act like the richest person, put an ego up and treat other people like they're less than them? I'm not saying that that's all rich people, but boy, oh boy, have I seen that. You want your children to respect money. You want your children to value what money does, the tool. And what money does is solves other people's problems. See, there's 6 laws to wealth, and you've heard me talk about the laws of wealth, but one of the most important laws of the 6 is law number 5. And law number 5 is the gift of giving. That is it. Law number 5, give more. Give more unconditionally. Give more to solve other people's problems. That is a law. And if you do just that, you will have all the riches, you will have all the wealth you could ever want, but you will be fulfilled. You will have a sense of purpose because you spent your time giving and solving other people's problems. Let's fast forward to what will be all of our final moments. When we're sitting either in a hospital bed or at home in our bed, what is it that you see? What is it that you're thinking about? When you're in your final moments and you know the end is certain, do you sit there and say, I wish I wouldn't have spent so much time focused on things? Do you sit there and talk about, oh, guys, it's been such a great life. Those Lamborghinis and those big houses were just so awesome. Or do you sit there and talk about the memories of the ones that you loved? to talk about the things you did to leave a legacy, which is law number 6, that lives beyond you. The people's lives you touched by solving their problems, the people's lives you touched by giving. Those are the things you think about. You think about the love you gave, the time you shared, the memories you created, the experiences you made. None of which has to do with the clothes you wore, the car you drove, the house you lived in, or any of that bullshit. In your final moments, in everyone's final moments, they wish that they gave more. They wish they solved more people's problems. They wish they did more for others. They do not wish they did more for themselves. That right there sums up the whole baseline for what I'm going to show you next. What I'm going to tell you next is how to make your kids millionaires. Again, I've already told you how simple that is. But in making them millionaires, you need to teach them lessons. I'm going through this exercise right now. I have a 20-month-old. Now, maybe a bit early. Well, some people would say it's not. I'm going to tell you it's not. I am teaching my daughter the values of doing nice things for others, starting with animals, okay, because we have cats. So teach her to be nice and respectful to cats. Teach her to do nice things for the cats and show her what the response is. Teach her to say thank you and please. Teach her that when she wants something, there's different ways to go about doing it than just trying to take it. Teach her to be a loving person. As time goes on, one of the things I am going to do very soon, probably this year, okay, when she's 24 months old, this will be my mark where I start this. Vivi will go on payroll for one of our companies. That's right. But some of you are thinking, well, why would you put your daughter on payroll? I will put my daughter on payroll so that, number one, she starts earning an income for doing stuff. I want to teach her what that's like, even at a young age. And I will show her the checks will come in her name. Mark my words, it will not be an ACH. It will be a bill pay check that she gets, so that then I can take that time to tear open the check with her, to explain her what this is, to explain to her what she did to get this. I will say, Vivi, do you remember the day we were outside and you were in the snowboard and daddy had the photographer taking pictures of you? You were a model. You were modeling the snowboard. You were modeling the essence of snowboarding as a young little girl. Vivi, do you remember the time where you were at the office and daddy had you filing papers and daddy had you doing these different things? Vivi, I was teaching you the low levels of the business because there's not one person in an organization that can't do the lowest level or the highest level. Usually, the proprietor, the owner of a business started at the bottom in one way or the other, and they worked their way up. So Vivi, this is the bottom. Respect it, enjoy it, understand it. And then this paycheck is for those efforts. But she will not get the paychecks. The paychecks will then go into an account. You see, when you pay a minor, the income to a certain level, a little over $12,000, is 100% tax-free to that child. We can't work and earn tax-free income, but our children can. So I will put her on payroll and I will pay her for tasks performed. I will pay her to learn the importance of not just the high-level things, but the lowest of the low-level things. And eventually, yes, she will learn how to clean bathrooms because I had to. She will learn that when the bathroom and the toilet overflows, this is what you do with the plunger because that's what I had to do. She will learn all these things that seem insignificant, that some people would even say, why would you ever have your daughter do that? Because if she doesn't know how to do that, you harm her when that actually happens later in her life. You see, these are the things that I will instill in Vivi when she's younger. And she will spend time doing these things. Some of them will be things that she doesn't enjoy. Good. We all have to do things in life we don't enjoy to get to the things we do enjoy. Trials and tribulations of life. She will do all of them. And she will also benefit from the fun things. She will be on planes with me, traveling to events. She will get on stage with me, and she will be part of the speech, of which she will get paid for. She will be the one manning, or I should say, she will be the one, not manning, but working the booth, selling the shirts, talking to people about what Daddy and Vivi's talk was all about. She will be giving information, taking their information down. For that, she will be paid. And she will continue to go on these different journeys with me and with, with Larissa. And she will continue to go to the houses that we're renovating, the houses that we rent out. She will learn the importance of the place that we created, the renovation that we did, and how that serves the people that are living there. She will learn that those people then pay to live in that in the form of rent. But that rent comes with obligations from us. That person pays us rent for us to provide them a nice, safe living environment. And she will definitely be taught that when things go wrong, this is how you handle them. You fix them. Whether it's something you created, a problem you created, or a problem the tenant created that they lied to you about, we will deal and teach her how to deal with those problems in a kind and understanding way, but sometimes in a firm way, because sometimes people will try to take advantage of us. Sometimes people will try to take advantage of her, and she needs to know how to react to that in a kind yet tactical way. You see, all these things are things that most of you have had to go through in your life. And if you didn't, that's a shame. It's a shame. If you were handed everything, if you never had to pay for anything, if you were like some of the people in my family that pretty much have been given everything, everything's been paid for. When they turned 16, they got the car and the parents paid for the insurance. When they really never had to work for anything, I can tell you what happens, because in my own family, I can identify exactly what went wrong and why they are spoiled brats that don't have respect and don't even know how to say fucking thank you. Excuse my language. Those people that I'm referring to, of which names I will not give, those will never be how my daughter grows up. My daughter will never be handed things. She will live a good life because obviously we have worked very hard to get where we're at, but she will never be handed things. She will never take those things for granted. She will understand the work and the effort that went behind all of them. And through these journeys, what she will be taught is the laws of wealth over and over and over and over and over again. The laws of wealth will be taught to her through different lessons and different applications. She will be taught to save money. How will she be taught? Well, she will work, like I just described. She will be paid for that work. She will know that there's a check that comes from her efforts and energies that she puts in. But that effort and energy and that money that she gets will be put away to the tune of no less than 1/10 of the gross income she makes. Never less. In most cases, more. And the reason that we will do that is we are teaching her one of the laws, the first law, law number 1, which is keep no less than 1/10 of your gross income. And when she is taught law number 1 and she has that mastered, what she will then have the ability to do when and only when she fully grasps that law, understands it so thoroughly that she doesn't even need to think about it before she does it. Every time she makes money doing anything, 1/10 of it or more will be kept somewhere else. Just so you all understand the word keep, I use the word keep as a replacement of save, because I truly believe that we work for money and then we give much of that money away to someone else. I don't, and Vivi won't, but most people do, and I did in my whole life. See, I became the bank, and now I pretty much keep everything that we make. But I never used to. I used to give away a lot of what I made. But I will never allow Vivi to keep less than 1/10. Law number 1. After Vivi keeps 1/10, that money will be put into various different places, her own privatized banking system being one of them, which we've already set up. The second will be a Roth IRA for a future date. And the third will just be various accounts that she then can do the things that she's passionate about as she gets older. I don't know what that will be. Maybe it'll be crypto. Maybe she finds passion in crypto. Maybe she'll, I don't know, like to invest in collectibles. Whatever it is, that will be one of the accounts. Is she will be able to invest in things that she knows, likes, and understands, which we'll get to that law in a moment. But when she invests in these things, what she will be taught is she will be taught law number 2 of wealth. And that is, Vivi, you worked hard for this money, and you worked hard for that 1/10 that you kept. Now that the 1/10 was saved and you've accumulated a little bit of money here, that money now needs to do the same thing that you did to earn it. And that is law number 2, your money must go to work for you. And that is what she will be taught. She will be taught through and through, over and over, until she has mastery of this law. And that law is your money must work for you. And when she learns how to make her money go to work for her through various investments, various sources, things like real estate or things like crypto, or putting money in the privatized banking system, or making loans, which will be something that she will very much be taught. She'll be taught how to be the bank, how to treat her money the same way that the bank treats other people's money. And she will be taught how to make loans and how to solve other people's problems with those loans, all in the efforts of teaching her law number 2, make her money work for her. And what she will also learn is when she makes her money go to work for her, her money doesn't have limits like she did. You see, when she went to work, she got tired. When she went to work, she was limited by forces that were out of her control, and some which were in her control. But her money has no limitations whatsoever. Her money can work all day, 24/7, never take a vacation, never take a lunch break, nothing. It will work continuously and forever. And when her money works for her, she will see that that money produces offspring. And those offspring are in the form of interest, dividends, and gains. Now, when that money working for her produces offspring, interest, dividends, gains, she then will have to learn how to make that money go to work for her. So now her money isn't just working for her once, it's working for her twice, thrice, and on and on and on. You see, there's no end to that. When your money works for you, it produces offspring. Those offspring can then be sent out to work or can be spent, but I'm going to teach her the power of the infinite way of doing this. And then when that money goes to work, it produces more offspring, which may be smaller, but it's still offspring. Then that offspring, the interest, dividends, gains, can be sent back out to work, and on and on. Vivi will learn mastery of law number 2, and your children should as well. Your children should learn not just law number 1, which is keep 1/10 of your income, but also law number 2, which is make your money work for you. And once they have mastered law number 1 and law number 2, your children need to learn what I view as the most important law, law number 3. I did say one of the most important. Might not be the most important, but one of the most important. Law number 3 is when you've got your money working for you because you saved and kept that money, you need to protect that money. Law number 3 is always protect your wealth. And it's very simple. I already talked about this, but let's just hit on this. In order to protect your wealth, in order for me to teach Vivi mastery of protecting her wealth, the first thing she will be taught is, Vivi, the only things you will invest in, the only places where your money will go to work are in things that you know, things that you like, and things that you understand. Because if you invest in things you don't know, like, or understand, your money will flee you, always. The second thing I will teach Vivi is eventually we will run out of things that she can invest in that she knows, likes, and understands. She will have to get into things that she does not know. Maybe she likes them, but she does not understand them. So she only has one of the 3. So in that, she will then have to find people that she can invest that money in, or find people that she can invest that money with. But she needs to then understand how to vet them and do the due diligence on these people to make sure that they have the knowledge, the wisdom, and that the knowledge and wisdom was created through time and failure. So the people that we invest our money with, we need to make sure that they have the knowledge and the wisdom. And we want to make sure that that knowledge and wisdom was created over time and with failure. Because if someone hasn't failed in what they do, they have not learned. So that will also be something that she will learn. When you invest with people, they must be the experts in that field through those simple rules. And then also she will learn a very simple thing that I learned through a movie. We will watch the movie Talladega Nights. And Vivi will be taught that one line in the movie where she will laugh, but she will learn the lesson in this movie. Son, if you're not first, you're last. In this case, Vivi, if you're not first, you're last. When you lend money, when you become the bank, try to always be first. Because if you're not first and something goes wrong, you're more than likely last. Those are some simple lending rules, and banks know this very well. And Vivi, my daughter, and hopefully your children will understand this, because if we're going to make our children millionaires, we have to then show them the importance of these different laws through application of the knowledge we teach them. We can't just tell our children, all right, Vivi, you need to protect your wealth, without showing the application of what that means. Because knowledge, all in of itself, isn't really powerful. It's the application of the knowledge that really gets the mastery. So she needs to be shown the application of these 3 laws we just covered so far. Keep 1/10 of your gross income, law number 1. Make your money work for you always, law number 2. Protect your wealth, law number 3. And that moves us on to law number 4. And law number 4 is a very important one, and one that I see violated every day today. This is 2022. And I see this law broken more than any other one. And this is what I'm going to teach and have Vivi master. It is simple. Law number 4. Do not seek unrealistic returns, or your money will flee you. If we go out and we seek unrealistic returns for the things that we invest in, we're always looking for the investments that pay us the highest return. Oh, that one's 20%. I'm going to invest in that just because it pays an unrealistic return. 9 times out of 10, maybe even 9.9 times out of 10, your money will flee you because you violated the law. And the law is law number 4. You were seeking unrealistic returns. And because of that, you know what you're going to find? You're going to find the gurus. You're going to find the fraudsters. You're going to find the scammers, because the gurus, the fraudsters, and the scammers are the ones that promise or tell you they can get you unrealistic returns. And then we will invest with the gurus, fraudsters, and scammers without knowing if they have the adequate knowledge and wisdom that is based on the time and failure. We don't even look at that because we get so blinded by the one thing that they're telling us, which is an unrealistic return that is not sustainable. And because of that, 9 times out of 10, you lose your money. Your money flees you. So Vivi will be taught this. And you know how I will teach her this? I will teach her by telling her of all the times Dad seeked unrealistic returns and what the impact of seeking those unrealistic returns ended in. And that was Dad losing money. I will also probably have Vivi invest money in things that she was excited about because they had high returns. And I will show her that in time, those were the ones that lost money. And I will show her that the slow and steady Eddie investments that she made, the ones that she wasn't excited about because they didn't have big returns, paid out more, 3 times, 5 times, 10x more than those unrealistic return investments that she made. Through application of this knowledge, she will gain mastery, just like your children will. Because remember, we're paying them. We're putting them on payroll. They're getting tax-free income. And then we're going to go through the act of actually giving a check to our children. But the check cannot be just spent. The check then goes into the different things that we're going to teach through these different laws of wealth. And eventually, after the laws are understood, at least up to this point, 1 through 4, maybe at that point, you can allow your children to start benefiting or enjoying some of the money. Or maybe you do it all along. However you choose to do it, just make sure you don't skip the application of these laws and the knowledge that comes along with just giving money. You don't want to just give money. You don't want to just walk down the street and give money. You want to give with purpose. And also you want to give so that that giving helps somebody else get further and it solves a problem. I don't think really just handing somebody money is really something that solves a really big problem for people. There has to be a purpose behind what you're giving to, which leads me to the next law. Law number 5. Law number 5 is one that I absolutely love, and it goes right along with what we're talking about, and that is give. Because the fifth law of wealth, which we already talked about, is give more. Give unconditionally. Give without any expectation of getting back. And I do this all the time. I give to charities that I believe in. I give to 10 Lives Club, which is an animal shelter. I give to veterans. I give to cancer societies. I give to almost anybody that asks me to give. And I do it unconditionally without any expectation of a return or any expectation of anything coming back to me. Many times when I walk down the streets in a big city, you see a lot of people that are asking for money. And oftentimes I want to ask how they arrived in this position and what they learned from it. And I can listen to a story, and I haven't done this enough because I usually don't have a lot of time, but this is how I would envision teaching this, is I would envision going with Vivi into a city where there's lots of people that need money, and we have either money or I think bags of supplies, because I think that's more valuable. You give something tactical that they can use and apply right then and there. And most people that, are homeless or don't have somewhere to go, they need simple things like deodorant, food, socks. And did I say socks? Blankets. So take backpacks like Dan Fleischman does and stuff them full of the essentials that someone would need, and go out with Vivi and teach her how to give and teach her how to solve a problem, and ask the questions. How did you get here? What went wrong? What did you learn? And how can we help solve your problem? And then go solve the problem. You see, by doing this, you teach your children law number 5. And law number 5 is give more and give unconditionally. When Vivi has mastery of laws 1 through 5, then and only then can the key be given to Vivi for law number 6. Because law number 6 is a tough one to teach. And it's a tough one, but yet because it ends with a sad reality that we all have to face. So law number 6 is, in your lifetime, we must create a legacy. And that legacy must be so great that it outlives us and impacts people while we're gone. When we move on to a better place, heaven, wherever you see that better place, when you're standing at the gates and you think back, what legacy did you leave? When you're gone and in a better place and people are remembering you, what do they remember you for? How many people show up to your funeral? There are stories after stories after stories of people that did simple things. I just was at an event, and I spoke with a legend, and the legend spoke about his father. Most of his life, his father was an alcoholic, much like mine. But his father quit by saying, I'm not going to drink for one more day. And every day, it was one more day. The next day he woke up, I'm not going to drink for one more day. You see, he didn't say, I'm not going to drink for the rest of my life. I'm not going to drink anymore. He said, I'm not going to drink for one more day. It is so easy for us to articulate and apply that simple statement, one more day. And we can translate that down to one more thing, one more call, one more letter, one more email. How many times in your life do you just do one more? When you don't want to, that's when you got to dig deep. One more. I'm sure his father had to dig deep to quit, because every day was a new challenge. Every day the demons came back, and every day he had to say one more day. And in that journey, the one thing that this speaker did not do, that Ed did not know, is he did not know that his father was going around to other alcoholics and he was helping them do one more day. And he kept logs. And these logs were all the different people's lives he touched, the dates that he talked to them, and maybe 1 or 2 little notes. And he would go back and check in with them. One more day. Now, he wasn't able to help everybody, but what he did is he tried. He put the effort in. He gave unconditionally. He tapped into unconditionally law number 5, giving every single day the hope of one more day without a drink. One more day of hope. One more day sober with your family. And he did this for the duration of his life, so that the day that he did leave and go on to a better place. The day that he took his last breath, he knew he had left a legacy. And that legacy came true that when the funeral came up, this speaker speaks of the hundreds of people that showed up, people he didn't know. These weren't friends. These weren't family. These were strangers. And they came up and they said, your father helped me get one more day. Your father helped me stop drinking by going one more day at a time. And people and person after person came up to this guy and told him what his father had done. That's a legacy. That is a legacy that lives beyond, far past the days we go. So how I teach Vivi this legacy will be through applying laws 1 through 5. And will be done by creating a legacy by abiding by the 5 laws that we just talked about. And if you apply the 5 laws, you almost can't not create a legacy. And the legacy just doesn't include the money that you pass on to the next generation, the trust fund that goes on to the next generation, because that will all be part of following the 5 laws of wealth we covered. The 6th law is almost a natural, almost an automatic, but it's one that's one of the most important, because when we think about the short time we have here, we have to really focus in on the legacy that we're really creating and how we are viewed when we're no longer here. What people say when they realize that we have gone on to a better place. That's your true legacy. So folks, when you go on the journey of helping your children become millionaires, the act of making them a millionaire, or even, more than that, is simple. They have time. So if you just pay them on payroll, take the money from the payroll and put it into an investment, put it into a private banking policy, and then make loans from that, or whatever it might be, they will become millionaires. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if you just make them a millionaire and give them keys to the wealth, to the riches, let's call it, they will blow it all. They will waste it all. They will not understand the laws of wealth that will allow them to be different than the rich people. Because the biggest difference between rich and wealthy is the wealthy know how to keep the riches that they've made. To keep the riches, they must abide by the laws of wealth. And there's also 10 rules of prosperity that go along with that we'll cover in another podcast. So folks, don't just make your children millionaires. Teach your children the power of how money works. Teach them the tool, and then teach them the importance of giving. Teach them the importance of making their money work for them. Teach them the importance of protecting their wealth, and teach them the importance of keeping the money that they earn. All in all, with one grand thing at the end: give and create a legacy. Folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, in the beginning of this podcast, I told you all about a gift, this booklet. And you can all get this booklet by simply applying some of this knowledge. And this booklet will teach you how to get all the money back for every single car that you buy, drive, and own. And it will teach you how to do that in less than 68 pages in big text and lots of drawings. To get this booklet, you simply have to apply this simple knowledge. Go to chrisnoggle.com and scroll down 2 index fingers or thumb swipes on your phone, and you will see the booklet. Click on it, register for a free webinar, and show up, because you'll learn about the laws of wealth and how you can apply them. And in doing just that act, you will get the booklet. And that booklet will do one thing and one thing only: teach you how to get all the money back for every single car you buy, drive, and own. With that being said, thank you all for joining us for another episode of The Money School. We'll see you next time.